Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing my June wrap-up and my July TBR. Also this month I got the months correct when I said my June wrap-up and my July TBR. So as always, we are going to start off with the books that I read in June. So the first book that I read in June was Frozen by Melissa De La Cruz and Michael Johnston. And this book is basically a mishmash of a lot of different genres. It's like a little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of dystopian, a little bit of fantasy. Like it's kind of a huge, mishmash of genres. I gave this book maybe about a 3.5 star rating on Goodreads. I liked it, but I wasn't super into it. I felt like it was very, very jumbled and a little bit like it didn't have a very clear direction. So that kind of threw me off a lot when I was reading this book, but I did like the characters and I thought the romance was really great and I liked the twist at the end. I thought it was really interesting. Basically, this is set in a dystopian America where the land has frozen over and it's set in Las Vegas, which is now called New Vegas. And yes, that's about as much as I can go into. It's kind of like, it kind of reminds me of a little bit of like a Six of Crows, but not as good. And I hate to say that I didn't like a book or that I didn't think a book was very good, but that's kind of how I feel about this book. It's kind of like a Six of Crows, but like not as good. So the rest of the books that I read in June, I actually read on my phone, and so I'm going to show you a few of those. I do have some that aren't on my Kindle, but that are on my actual book app on my phone, but I can't show you those, so I'll just mention them very quickly. But the first one that I read on my Kindle app was Inherited by Frida Matthews, and there is the beautiful cover. It's so pretty. I love it so much. And basically this is a pirate story and I loved it so much. Like I wasn't really expecting to like love a pirate story. I was like, oh, I'm probably going to really enjoy this. I'm sure I'll like it. But I'm actually like super into pirates now. I'm like, this is so good. Basically, it's about a girl and she and 8 other people have this curse that it was put upon their parents and that is inherited by them. And they have to go and break the curse. And it is awesome. I really love it. I actually saw the Pirates of the Caribbean movie recently and it kind of reminded me of that. So if you like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, you might like this book as well. And I love it. I can't recommend it enough. The next book I read was actually an ARC that I received from NetGalley, and that was The Goblins of Bellwater by Molly Ringle. And there's the cover. I really like this cover. And this is actually one of the first new adult books I've ever read, and I really enjoyed it. Basically, it's about this guy, and his family has been dealing with this curse that was put upon them by goblins since his, I think, great-grandmother or great-great-grandmother. I can't remember. But basically the curse says that he has to take care of these goblins and give them gold every month and make sure that they stay out of trouble. When a girl that is very close to this girl that he is kind of seeing gets taken by goblins and kind of her entire personality changes and she's going to be turned into a goblin, he has to kind of help and break that curse that she has. I really enjoyed this book. I think I gave it maybe a 4 stars. And I was actually really impressed by just this entire world and the way that the goblins were described, and I really liked it. I thought it was so interesting and so much fun, and I couldn't really like put it down. Like I just kept wanting to read it. The next book I read in June, I actually gave a 5 out of 5 stars because this is like my favorite book that I've read this month. And it was Illegal Contact by Santino Hassel, and I love this book. I got it as an ARC on NetGalley and I absolutely freaking loved it. It was so good. Basically, it's about a guy in the NFL and he is put on house arrest and he needs an assistant to kind of do all his work and, bring him groceries and stuff like that. Stuff that he can't do while on house arrest. And so there's kind of like a hate to love sort of relationship, and it is fantastic. It is so good. I absolutely love it, and just the romance in this book is so good. It's men loving men, so I have no words. I have no words. It was so good. It was so well written, and the relationship was so well written, and I just loved it so much, and I totally recommend you guys checking it out when it comes out. The next book that I read in June was Love is Love by Met Bach, and I didn't really necessarily like this book too much. I thought it was cute and fun and fast, and it was super short, Basically, it's about this girl and she moves to her aunt and uncle's house and she meets this guy that is friends with her cousin, and he is transgender and they end up falling in love, and it's really cute. But I think I gave it about 3 stars, and I actually did enjoy reading it. It just wasn't really my cup of tea. But I did like the relationship and I loved the characterization. The next book I read in June was Style by Chelsea M. Cameron, and I really enjoyed this book so much. I think I might have given it 4 stars. And it was so, so cute. And actually someone that I follow on Twitter, I can't remember who at the very moment that I'm filming this video, I can't remember who said it, but the title of Style is actually the ship name for the 2 characters in the book. And I'm like, what? Because it's about Stella and Kyle, and it is just such a cute little book. It's like women loving women and so fluffy and adorable and cute, and I love it. And it's just so sweet, and you guys definitely have to check it out. Okay, so now that the wrap up is over, I'm going to move on to my July TBR. So one of the first books that I'm planning on reading in July is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, and I feel really, really behind on the A Court of Thorns and Roses train. Like, I feel like I'm so very, very behind, and everyone really likes this series, and I definitely enjoyed Throne of Glass. I've read up until this book right here, Empire of Storms. But I just kind of, fell off the Throne of Glass train. It's a little problematic for me, and I know that this one I'm sure is going to be problematic as well. However, I have the book and I kind of just want to read it and see if I enjoy it or not, and I've heard so many good things about the series, so I'm just hoping that I can enjoy it despite its problematic elements. And yes, so I am super excited about this book. I don't really know what it's about, I just know it's fantasy. And I think it might be slightly a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I don't remember, so this is one of the books. The next book is one that I've had on my shelf for quite a long time, and it is Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes, another fantasy book that I've heard a lot of good things about. I've heard this is like a really, really high fantasy. Like, you think Throne of Glass is high fantasy? This is even more high fantasy. So that's really all I know about this book, but I'm so, so, so excited to read it. And I'm sure that I'm gonna love it, and it looks really cool. I actually got it because it kind of looks like a Assassin's Creed sort of cover. I thought it was really awesome looking, so yeah, I'm super excited to read this one. The next book I am hoping to get to in July is An Ember in the Ashes by Siva Tahir, and I've actually started this one, and I think that I'm fairly far into it. I don't think I'm like super far into it, but I can't see where my... Oh, there it is. So I'm on page 90, and so, that's a pretty good start into the novel. I actually really like it. I feel like the writing is very dry and very simple, which I kind of do enjoy, and I am just so excited to finish this book. I've heard so many good things about it, and everyone raves about it, so I'm hoping that I'm gonna like it as well, and I'm really excited to read it. So the very last book that I have on my TBR is Tosh Hearts Tolstoy by Catherine Ormsby. This is kind of a deviation from my super, super fantasy TBR, but I've started to read this one. I think I've gotten about a chapter or so into the book, and I am obsessed already. Like, I think it's so good. Basically, it's about a girl, and she produces this web series about Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. And so I am so, so, so excited. And I know this book has a lot of ace representation, which I'm really interested in, and so I'm really excited to finish this book. Alright, so that was my June wrap-up and my July TBR, and if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and like this video, and comment down below what your July TBR is looking like and what books you're gonna have on it and how many you're gonna read. Just let me know. I'm super interested in that, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!